so an improved showing about the third or the fourth session where the NSC is up. Your views?
I would say it's more or less looks like a psychological aspect about it, in the sense that, yeah, we're about to hit the 4,000 mark. There's been a little bit of easing on the Kenya shilling, albeit when the CBK came on board. But more so too, it has to do with the general outlook within the economy, in that there's a lot of things happening. On one side, we could be saying that the revenues, like from the mobile phone industry, are going down, when on the other, you look at construction is still booming, the agricultural sector, the rains again are still here with us. So it's almost like a feel-good factor for all going round.
Okay, which are the counters that are looking up? I know that Safaricom has seen investors using speculative measures to prop up that particular stock and the prices. Is that still the case?
Well, part of it is still the case, because if you look at the share price, how it has been oscillating at the 4 shilling 10 and whereabout, there's a lot of demand for it. But when we look at the long run, there's still positive sentiment. I mean, a few weeks back, there was an organizational change with the merging of various departments. It goes to show that there's still something in store. They're not going to take the fight lying down from Zain Kenya, when you look at it in the sense of how to go forward.
All right, other counters to watch today. We've seen the share price for Total rise 4.9%. East African breweries, a good showing at 3.8%, trading upwards of 6 shillings. Sasini, a big mover today, trading 5,000 shares above 10 shillings. Access Kenya gaining 6.9.
Yeah, well, if you look at that, those are some of the key counters in that we normally don't notice a lot of change within throughout the year. If you look at East African breweries, for that matter, there's never that much change. One, because not many people buy into the counter because of its very high pricing. Then Access Kenya, there's been a lot of positive outlook. All of a sudden, there's been a surge. If you look at from some beginning of last week towards the end also, there's been sort of a positive sentiment towards it. You look at what you just announced earlier, the 190 online getting forward, because what will happen is data is data. Data is the next big front, because voice calls in terms of mobile telephony is slightly becoming now that no longer the in thing. Now it's data, the next frontier, because a lot of people now are being enticed to actually have internet at home, internet on the go. So you can understand that this is actually one of the key areas. And these are some of the companies that are in it.
Interestingly, Equity Bank remains unchanged at about 25 Kenyan shillings, 25 cents.
Yes.
And yet they've just announced a major corporate debt deal with City Hall.
Yes, but if you look at it, that the corporate debt deal is not the first, because I believe back in 2007 there was something similar. But also what goes to show about Equity Bank is always being the first at the market, because if you look at City Hall's image for the longest time has not been positive, because they've been actually very poor at servicing the debt before. But now with the onset, when they got the gentleman, Mr. Kisia, who used to work at, who turned around one of the premier Kenya sites, that's a Kenyatta International Conference Center, from a loss-making to a profit-making institution, then it goes to show that there's a lot of due diligence Equity has done, and they know for a fact that this will be of beneficial interest to the bank. And anyway, when you look at it, they have very, very large deposits. So they're sitting on a large pool of money that they need it out there for them to reap from it.
Okay, just on this particular point, I mean, you say they're the first, and I think just clarity for some of our viewers, they're the first by way of a traditional retail lender moving into the corporate lending space. Are we likely to see some of these innovations across banking in general?
Well, I would say it's like a big test. The gauge is how Equity and City Hall will work it out, albeit the previous one of about 3 billion that was lent in 2007. But it will turn around and change, because a lot of institutions are turning around from previous era where they were badly run, there were debts of actually corruption, and people were using them merely as cash cows. So this is actually moving forward, because once that gains credence amongst the corporate industry, you'll notice that it will bring others. It will simply, what it did for, and what was called before, what Equity used to do is lend money without security. And that is happening from the likes of Barclays, Standard Chartered today.